Hare Krishna. Welcome to our evening katha. Heartfelt wish is that you are all safe and sound, and we hope you're taking advantage to increase your bhajan in this strange time. So today we're going to go to Avantipur, Ujjain, where Krishna and Balaram went to Gurukul with Sandipani Guru. And we're going to use the basis as Jiva Goswami's Gopal Champu. Very nice details there. He tries, even though it's outside of Braj, he tries to preserve the Braj mood. So today, to start, we'll sing one of our favorite songs. We sing this every morning in Vrindavan, and many times devotees, I sing that song you sing in Vrindavan. Vibhabari sesa aloka pravisha nidrachari uto jiva. Vibhabari sesa aloka pravisha nidrachari uto jiva. Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva. Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva. Nisringa Vamana Sri Madhusudana Brajendra Nandana Shyama. Nisringa Vamana Sri Madhusudana Brajendra Nandana Shyama. Putana Gatana Kaitava Shatana Jaya Dasarati Rama. Putana Gatana Kaitava Shatana Jaya Dasarati Rama. Yasoda Dulala Govinda Gopala Vrindavana Purandara. Yasoda Dulala Govinda Gopala Vrindavana Purandara. Gopi Priya Jana Radhika Ramana Bhuvana Sundara Bhara. Priya Jana Radhika Ramana Bhuvana Sundara Bhora. Ravanandakara Makana Taskara Gopi Jana Basrahari. Ravanandakara Makana Taskara Gopi Jana Vasrahari. Brajera Rakala Gopa Brindapala Chittahari Bansidhari. Brajera Rakala Gopa Brindapala Chittahari Bansidhari. Yogendra Bandhana Sri Nandanandana Prajajana Bayahari. Yogendra Bandhana Sri Nandanandana Prajajana Bayahari. Navina Nirada Rupa Manohara Mohana Bamsi Bihari. Navina Nirada Rupa Manohara Mohana Bamsi Bihari. Yashoda Nandana Kamsani Sudana Nikunja Rasa Vilasi. Yashoda Nandana Kamsani Sudana Rasa Vilasi. Kadamba Kanana Rasa Parayana Brinda Bipina Nivasi. Kadamba Kanana Rasa Parayana Brinda Bipina Nivasi. Ananda Vardhana Prema Niketana Pulasharya Yojaka Kama Ananda Vardhana Prema Niketana Pulasarya Yojaka Kama Gopangana Gana Chitta Vinodana Samasta Guna Gana Dama Gopangana Gana Chitta Vinodana Samasta Guna Gana Dama Jamuna Jivana Keli Parayana Manasa Chandra Chakora Jamuna Jivana Keli Parayana Manasa Chandra Chakora Nama Sudarasa Gau Krishna Jasa Rakovachana Manamora Namasudha Rasa Gau Krishna Rasa Rakovachana Manamora Bibabari Sheshaloka Pravisha Nidrachari Uto Jiva Bibabari Shesh Aloka Pravisha Nidrachari Uto Jiva Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Hayagriva Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva Bolo Hari Hari Mukunda Murari Rama Krishna Hayagriva Sri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan Ki. So again, welcome to our evening katha. We hope that you're all safe and increasing your bhajan in this strange time. Today we're going to take you outside of Braj. But we'll see, we're going to follow Jiva Goswami's Gopal Champu, and we'll see how he tries to maintain the Braj mood even outside of Braj. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Bilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manubhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swaparandigam Aradana Srinandan Daividam Yache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padambujo Dulisyam Janma Janmani Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. So Gopal Champu is a very beautiful book written in prose by Srila Jiva Goswami. And Srila Jiva Goswami has a very nice, or actually Baladev Vidyabhushan, whose, I'm not sure appearance or disappearance, his Tithi is tomorrow. He has a very beautiful Mangalacharan that he's written about our Srila Jiva Goswami. Yashanka Pankena Kutarka Pashana Vivartakartena Chalupti Diditim Sudam Yadagvak Shrudaya Maheshram Krishnam Sajivam Prabhumastu Nogati. He says Yashanka Pankena. In Sanskrit, punk means mud. Of course, nowadays punk means something else, but in Sanskrit, punk means mud. So he said those shining glories of Maheshwaram Sri Krishna, the great Lord Sri Krishna, they were trampled into the mud of atheistic Sankhya philosophy. Shanka Pankena, Kutarka Pashuna. Pashuna means windstorm, dust storm. And Kutark means useless argument. Every pundit is trying to defeat the other pundit, just uselessly arguing, just like dust storm getting dust in our eyes, we can't see the goal of life. Bibarta Gartena Chalukti Diditim. Bibartavad means Mayavad. So they fell into the dark black hole of Mayavad philosophy. Sudam Yadak Vak Shudaya. But by his pure Suda, nectarine, Shuddha, nectarine words, he's rescued those shining glories. That Jiva Goswami is my Prabhu, Astu Nogati, and the goal of my life. So in Gopal Champu, he uses the vehicle of Sabha with Nanda Maharaj. This Krishna has come back to Braj. We read about that. We talked about that a little in when we went to Kamudvan. That Dantavakra was killed. Krishna came back to Braj. So they're sitting with all the Brishbasis, and there's two nice fellows named Snigdhakant and Madhukant. They both have very sweet voices for reciting Krishna's Leela. In fact, I always try to remember that I'm just a servant of Madhukanta and Snigdhakanta. So the chapter of Ujjain Leela starts with Nanda Maharaj has returned to Braj after Kamsa has been killed. Then Nanda Maharaj and all the Brishbasis stay there for a few days and they return to Braj. And suddenly Vasudev begins to notice that previously Krishna and Balaram, they were with Mother Yasoda and they were used to dealing with her all the time. Maya, I need this. Maya, I'm hungry. Maya, can I go out to play with my friends? Maya, I want to take rest. Please tell a story. But they never had such dealings with Devaki. So they were feeling a little shy. And he noticed this shyness with Devaki. Then he remembered, oh my goodness, now Kansa's dead. Rohini's there in Braj. They were dealing with Rohini every day. We should have told Nanda Baba before he left that he should send Rohini back to Braj. So he sent a messenger to Braj, and when the messenger came and told Rohini that now she can return to Mathura, Rohini was thrown into a whirlwind of emotions. He said, how can I give up the chance to see those beautiful Sham, Varn, Kishores? But then, how can I leave my mother Yasoda who's treated me so nicely? How can I leave Nanda Baba? And all the Brishbasis who were so kind to me while I was here. I don't know what to do. If Providence could divide me in half with one arm, one leg, one eye, one ear, and one nose, and keep life in both pieces, and establish one here in Gokul and one in Mathura, then somehow I can maintain my life. Seeing that Mother Rohini was swept up into a whirlwind of emotions, contradicting emotions, Mother Yasoda understood her mind and said, oh Rohini, you must immediately go. Krishna and Balaram need you. You should never think that there's any difference between myself and yourself. Because after all, we never kept any Bhed Bhav, any difference Bhav, that this is your son, that is my son, that is my son, that is your son. You're feeling yourself as non-different from me. You should immediately go to Mathura to be with them. They need you. So then an escort from Mathura came, and all the Brishbasis with tears in their eyes, they came up to the shore of the Jamuna. And they saw Rohini on a nice boat. When she reached the other shore, Krishna and Balaram saw Rohini and they came running. And most amazing, they saw Rohini, but actually they were seeing Mother Yasoda. And even more amazing, Mother Rohini was thinking, I am Mother Yasoda. And she grabbed the two boys. They were very happy to be again with their Mother Rohini because they had always been dealing with her. So, soon after they arrived, Mother Rohini became aware of some strange bhav in Mathura. Whenever she would discuss about Krishna and Balaram and their pastimes in Braj, all the Mathuravasis would come very nervous, and they didn't like it. And seeing this, she said to them, that thing in this world which is known as sneha, Sneha means affection. You can almost feel it just by hearing the word. Sneha, Sneha. Now that is, whatever Sneha is, that is Sri Krishna. And the most wonderful recipient of that Sneha is Mother Yasoda and the Brishbasis. So if that same Krishna is also your son, why should you feel anything wrong about it? And hearing her, Vasudeva and Devaki, they became grave and became quiet. But the other wives, the other queens, they said, "Oh, Rohini, you stayed with those Brishbasis for too long, and they brainwashed you with all their milk and dahi and makhan, and now you say all these funny things." So seeing this, she stopped talking about Krishna and Balaram in Braj, amongst the queens of Mathura. Meanwhile, Vasudeva began to consider that now these boys are the age, they should have their Upanayan Sanskar, Brahman initiation. So he began to consider that he would perform the Yagopavitra, the thread-giving ceremony of Krishna and Balaram. But seeing that the Mathuravasis felt uncomfortable in the association of the Brijavasis, he didn't invite them. He made a big ceremony, but he didn't invite them to come. Rohini also noticed it, but understanding the situation, she also kept quiet. Krishna and Balaram also noted that the Brishbasis are not coming. So they went to one friend named Sudama, because whoever outside of Braj has got the same name as one of Krishna's friends in Braj, they're very dear to him. Just like in Braj there's Arjun Sakha, and on the battlefield of Kurukshetra there's Arjun, the mighty archer. So all these people are very dear to Krishna because they have names that remind them of his friends in Braj. So he went to Sudama Mali, the gardener, the Fulwala, the flower vendor, Malawala. And he told him, "I want you to deliver a message to Nanda and Upananda, and no third pair of ears should hear this message. That here in Mathura they're planning to do our Brahman initiation, but I have understood their conspiracy. By awarding me the Brahman thread, they will make me a Kshatriya. But I want you to know, only externally I will accept the Kshatriya Varn, but internally I will accept Gopa Varn from you." So understanding all these things, you arrange the Brahman thread ceremony for all of my friends, Toka Krishna, Sudama, Sridama, and seeing them as non-different than me, non-different from me, you award me a Gopa Varn, because I will only accept, externally I will accept, but I want to be a Gopa. So Jiva Goswami says, since the Brishbasis weren't invited, there's no need to talk about the Brahman initiation ceremony in Mathura. But special things about the initiation ceremony in Braj. Nanda and Upananda, keeping Krishna's thoughts in their mind, they arranged the Brahman thread ceremony for all of Krishna's friends, and seeing those friends as non-different from Krishna and Balaram, they awarded Krishna the Gopa Varn. So just after that, Krishna and Balaram began to consider that now we've had the Yagyopavitra, we should go to the Gurukul. As Prabhupada explains in Krishna book, that this is, after taking the Brahman's initiation, then one should go to the Gurukul. And they began to discuss with all amongst themselves and amongst all the senior members of the Yadu dynasty, that where we should go, who should accept as Guru. And Krishna and Balaram considered that there's no one more adequate than Ved Vyas to be our Guru. But Ved Vyas, he's a Param Vaishnav, understanding our Vishnu Tattva, he will feel shy to instruct us. So we should accept as Guru someone who's a Shiva Upasak, worshipper of Lord Shiva. And there's no one more better, that person who's learned in all the Vedas, who's born in Kashi, traveled in Prabhas Kshetra, where later the Yadus will fight, and now stays in Ujjain and Avantipur at the lotus feet of Lord Shiva, Sandipani Guru, he's the best person to be our spiritual master. So they presented this to Vasudev, that they wanted to go to Avantipur. And then he told, but you should be very careful, because if Krishna and Balaram and I leave Mathura, then our enemies will take advantage to attack. So you don't let anybody know that we've gone to Avantipur. You tell them that we're doing ekantavrat, living alone in a special kutir in a corner of Mathura, and we're not receiving any visitors. And also, if the Brishbasis, they're barely leading our life, keeping their lives together, knowing that we're just in Mathura, if they find out we've gone to Avantipur, they'll leave their lives completely. So you don't tell anyone. Then Krishna and Balaram saw that Mother Devaki is very upset. So Krishna told, look, Maya, if I'm with Balaram, then Balaram has 1 crore of friends. And if Balaram was with me, then I have 10 crore of friends. So you shouldn't worry about us. So then Vasudeva arranged some Brahmins to go with them along the journey. And there was some talk about a vehicle to go. But they said, no, now we've taken brahmachari vrat. We cannot go any vehicle. We will go only on our 2 feet. But Jiva Goswami explains, those 2 feet are so wonderful, they cross everyone across this ocean of material existence. So what better vehicle than those 4 feet? And when they were traveling through the villages, nobody could understand who they were, but everyone was enchanted by these 2 boys, and wondered where they were from. And everyone used to speculate, this one person, he appears to be the Swayam Param Jyoti, the great white light himself. But this other fellow, we can't tell if he's light or he's black or what he is. And the ladies, seeing Krishna and Balaram as they passed through the village, the ladies would talk about them amongst themselves. Oh, who was the fortunate woman who gave birth to this beautiful Sham Kishore, and who sat her on her lucky lap and suckled her with her own breast? Yes. And who will be the lucky one who will get this Sham Kantwala as her Kant? Kanta means luster as well as husband. So who will get this Sham Kant, this blackish complexion fellow, as her Kanta, as her husband? And feeling like this, Sringar Ras would rise within their hearts, and their ears would tickle, and they would close their ears at ecstasy, talking about these 2 boys. And they never stayed in the same places where ordinary people stayed. Wherever they saw cows, or wherever there was a Goshala, then Krishna and Balaram used to stay in the Goshalas. So then, finally they reached Avantipur. And Sandipani Muni was sitting like Brihaspati, Jupiter, in the galaxy of the stars, amongst all the Brahmins. He was sitting like Jupiter amongst the galaxy of the stars. And seeing these 2 boys from a distance, they began to speculate about them. That it appears that the clouds of 2 different seasons have appeared at the same time. The black clouds of Shravan, the first month of rainy season, have come with the white clouds of Kartik, the 4th month of the rainy season. Somebody said it looks like the sun and the moon are arriving together. But they said, no, actually, that one fellow, he's as bright as the sun, but this other fellow, although the moon has got some blackish in it, it's always pale in comparison to the sun. But even in the presence of the sun, this black moon, this Kalachanji, now we know where the name came from, in Dallas. This Kalachanji, he destroys our example, because he's brighter than the sun, even in the presence of the sun, although he's the moon. And then, because of their Brahmanical pride, they refused to stand up, noticing that these 2 boys are Kshatriyas. But actually Jiva Goswami explains that they were just little boys. If the Brahmins would have stood up to receive them, they would have been in a higher position. It's not proper for a junior person to be in a higher position. So their Brahminical pride caused them to act properly. And then Krishna and Balaram came before the Brahmins, and they put the wooden instruments carried by brahmachari on the ground in front of them, paid their obeisances, and they called out their name and gotra. So then Sandipani Muni inquired about their family. So not to reveal that they were the sons of Vasudeva, Krishna very cleverly said, we are the sons of one Vasu, one jewel of the Yadu dynasty. Like that he kept his secret. So seeing by their thread and the type of cloth they were wearing, they were Kshatriyas, Sandipani Guru said, my time is very valuable. So you don't waste any time and you listen very carefully to everything I have to teach. And because you're Kshatriyas, we're going to have to curb your pride down. Tomorrow you will go begging with all the other boys in the ashram. Now you run to the ashram. And Sandipani Muni, he was very learned and very wise and very grave. But somehow or other he was completely vimohit. He was completely attracted by these two Sham and Gaur Kishore boys. And he began to speculate about them. And he came to the right conclusion, although he couldn't recognize them, that they are the Shrest, they're the best of all beings. Now the begging of Krishna and Balaram was very strange, because the beggars became the givers, and the givers became the beggars. How is that? Krishna and Balaram were so attractive when to the houses they went to beg, the people became the beggars for the darshan, and Krishna and Balaram became the givers of darshan. So everything was backwards. And wherever they went, they collected so much bhiksha. Those poor Brahmins who Vasudeva sent along with them, they became nothing but ordinary load carriers. And the boys who would go with them that day, they would get whatever they wanted. Krishna and Balaram thought that actually if we go to the houses of unknown people, there may be some misbehavior. So it's not nice. But actually when one's begging, he should go to the house of someone who's unknown. So they used to go only to the houses of their classmates' friends, classmates' parents, but they did it in such a way that those Brahmins who were accompanying them couldn't understand what they were doing. And when they went to beg from the houses of the young girls, although they were in the bloom of fresh youth, when they saw the girls, they only saw with mother bhav, matri bhav. And those girls also only saw those two boys, although they were in the prime of their youth, with putra bhav. In this way everything was nice. So and Sandipani Muni, being bound by the ropes of sneha, affection, he couldn't ask Krishna and Balaram to do any service for him. But he knew out of his sight they did so much service. And it's true, when Sandipani Muni wasn't watching, they would do so much service with great Guru Bhakti. Even they would take up the broom and sweep the ashram. And Jiva Goswami says, thinking of my Lord taking up the broom, my heart is marveled by such a thing. One day, Sandipani Muni's wife, she asked her husband, hey Bhagwan, who's the Shrest of all your disciples? And Sandipani Muni immediately said, these two Sham and Gaur Varnwalas, colored wallas, they're definitely my best disciples. Are? But I never see them do any service for you. He said, bound by the ropes of affection, I cannot ask them, but I know they do so much service out of my sight. So one day, now this is very interesting because this pastime we know from Bhagavatam is Krishna and Sudama. But Jiva Goswami in Gopal Champu, he describes it with Krishna and Balaram, this next pastime, so I don't know why. So one day she saw that just like now, the clouds are gathering, some wind came, we thought it was about to rain. She saw that it was getting dark and the clouds were coming for rain, and she was thinking, if they don't collect wood for the fire, for cooking now, all the wood will be wet tomorrow morning. So she began to ask all the students of Sandipani Muni to go to collect some wood. And everyone, seeing the darkness coming and the clouds and the wind coming, they were afraid. But as soon as Krishna and Balaram heard, they said, we will go deep in the forest because all the good wood has been collected nearby. We'll go deep in the forest and get the nice wood. And they ran into the forest and all the boys followed them. But out of fear of the impending darkness and the black clouds and lightning, all the boys ran back. And Krishna and Balaram, they collected the best wood. But gradually it became dark and they lost their way. They couldn't see. Then on top of everything, a huge rainstorm began to blow in. So Krishna and Balaram, they found a hollow tree. And what did they do? They went inside the hollow tree, right? Jiva Goswami says, no, they put the wood inside the tree to keep it dry, and they slept underneath the tree. And Jiva Goswami is thinking of my lords in such distress. My tongue doesn't work anymore. I cannot describe further. So the next morning, Sandipani Muni, when he heard what happened, he became very angry with his wife. Murk Stri, tune kya kar diya? Foolish woman, what have you done? And then without even doing his bath, without even doing his puja, without even doing his worship, without even doing his morning duties, he just ran into the forest. And all the boys ran behind him, and Sandipani Muni wasn't paying any attention. His cloth was becoming covered with leaves and twigs. He was running so fast. Then Krishna Balaram, from a distance, they saw their guru running through the forest, and they put their heads down in shame. Why? Because they thought, he must have heard about our boasting the other day that we'll bring the best wood, and we didn't accomplish our mission. He must have come to scold us. But as soon as Sandipani Muni arrived, he grabbed them to his chest and just hugged them with great love and affection, and tears were pouring down from his eyes. It appeared he was doing the Samavartana Sanskar, which is when the boys finish their Gurukul and leave to go into Grihastha life. And he told them how proud he was to have such disciples who would sacrifice their own comfort for their Guru. And he brought all the boys back to the camp. Now, in the school there were so many boys, and some were older and some were younger, and some had been studying for a long time, some had also just started. But Krishna and Balaram excelled all of the boys. Because, Jiva Goswami says, simply because they were students, just like can the swans soar with the Garuda simply because they're birds? Just because they were all students doesn't mean that they were equal. And they learned everything in one day. He taught them the 4 Vedas and the Vedangas, and they learned one Veda and its Vedangas. In the morning they would hear, and by evening they had perfected. Then Sandipani Muni taught them the 64 arts. If you go in Krishna book, you can read. We don't have time to go through all the 64. He taught them the 64 arts. And again, same thing. In one day they learned, by morning they started learning, by evening they were proficient. And Sandipani Muni was very happy. Now everybody knows that Sandipani Muni was the guru of Krishna and Balaram. What the world doesn't know is that actually Krishna and Balaram were the guru of Sandipani Muni. Because Sandipani Muni, he had some, as learned as he was, he had some doubts and difficulties in certain subject matters. But by teaching Krishna and Balaram, all those doubts and difficulties were resolved. So the whole world knows that Sandipani Muni was the guru of Krishna and Balaram, but they don't know Krishna and Balaram were the guru of Sandipani Muni. In this way he was very happy. But the night time, the poor boys in the night, they could barely sleep. At night, when they'd sleep in the ashram, Krishna would tell, "Hey Dao, I can't sleep. I'm just thinking of Ma Yasoda and Nanda Baba. And if I try to forget them and think of Devaki and Vasudev, then still Mother Yasoda and Nanda Baba come in my brain. If I try to think of our friends in Mathura, then I think of all the friends that I have in Braj stand up in my mind. Dao, I don't know what to do. I can see Mother Yasoda and Nanda Baba now. Mother Yasoda is sleeping, is lying down, and Nanda Baba's pacing back and forth, and they're crying, and they don't even go near each other. Because I can understand that Nanda Baba's he's feeling this great fire within his heart. So he's afraid if he'll go near Mother Yasoda, that fire will burn her. Dao, I don't know what to do. And yeah, Kanaya, it's like that. I also, every night I think I'm going to run away and go back to Braj. But because we have our mission, Pritranaya Sadhunam Vinashaya Kaduskritam, Dharma Samstapaganartaya Sambhavami Yuge. We can't leave, we have to stay here. Yeah, Kanaya, I have this dream, but it's not really a dream every night. But it's not really like a dream, it's like I'm really there. I see all the Braj Gopis and we're doing rasa dance and it's expanded in all directions. But it's not really a dream because I wake up in the morning, I can smell the perfume of the Braj Gopis on my body. So maybe I've ruined my brahmacharya. But then, Durvasa Rishi in Gopal Champu, he is told that he told all the gopis, this Krishna is your Swami. So it's not happening by my desire, so maybe I'm okay. In this way, Snigdhakant and Madhukant end the pastimes of Avantipur. It's very sweet. And you see how Jiva Goswami maintains. They're outside of Braj, but he always maintains that Braj mood. So tomorrow we'll see the special Guru Dakshina that Krishna and Balaram give for the Guru. Very wonderful story. So how many people are there today?
84 right now.
84 right now. So we thank you all for listening, and we deeply thank all those who are giving donations for our Brindakun. But even more importantly, it's over 2 months now, your favorite temple, Krishna Balaram Mandir, has no visitor whatsoever, no donations are coming. So you please go to iskonbrindavan.com and find the donation tag and button and give a donation so that we can serve Krishna and Balaram at your favorite temple here in Vrindavan. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.